Hi guys, today we're going to do a lesson that I like to call the Starburst lesson. Now in this you notice that I have a heart in the middle and then I have these lines sort of going from one point all the way out to the edge of the line, and that's what creates this, what I'm calling a starburst. So this is just a simple introduction to pattern. I have two different patterns going on here, a pattern outside my shape and then a pattern inside my shape. So while it looks really simple, sometimes as we're working, it can get a little bit confusing, especially if your lines happen to be in some of these really small spots. So I'm going to use a heart for my example. You do not have to use a heart for yours. I just had one sitting around because I'm at school. So I traced a heart first. You can do whatever shape you want. If you want to draw out an actual star, you could do that. You could do a diamond. You could even do some kind of shape like an animal or a character or something. That would totally work as well. So after you get your object drawn, now you need to decide where that point is that your starburst is going to be. So in mine, the point is right here. This is like the vanishing point. This is where all of the lines go back to. It could be on either side. It could be in the center. It's completely up to you. Sometimes I think it's kind of interesting when it's not in the center, but sometimes it's really nice to have it there too. So I'm just going to draw a tiny little dot. I don't want a big circle because I truly want it to be a vanishing point, not a vanishing circle or dot. I want to keep it kind of small. So the idea is you're going to need something that you can draw a straight line with. I have a ruler. You just need a straight edge of some sort. So whether it's a thick book or a thick piece of paper, anything like that will do. So just to review in how to use the ruler, you want to make sure that you've got one end of the ruler lined up at your point, and the other end of the ruler needs to go somewhere to the edge of the page. I might, just because I'm so close to that corner, I might line it up and make it go to the corner. So when I've got them lined up, my point and the spot at the edge that I want to draw my line to, now I'm going to put pressure in the middle, because if you put pressure on the side, remember it's going to move on you. So you want to put pressure in the middle right here and follow right along that edge. So the idea is you have to have a number, an even number of lines. So right now I only have one line. Obviously I'm not done. I'm just going to keep going. Now I don't measure the distance in between my lines. Some of them are going to be closer. Some of them are going to be farther apart. And that's okay. You don't have to measure anything. The only thing you have to keep track of is that you have an even amount of lines. So right now I have one. You always start at the vanishing point and go to the edge of the paper. 2, 3, 4, oh goodness, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, always starting at the point, 11, 12, 13, I'm going to do one kind of in the middle here. Actually, I'm going to do 14, 15, I'm going to do 16 lines. That would have been a really big space over here. Okay, so here's my 16 lines. Here's my starburst going through my shape. So now what I need to do is I need to come up with two colors that I'm going to color inside my shape, and then two colors that I'm going to color outside my shape. Now, I don't outline my shape with a marker. I know sometimes we do that. I just simply chose, for this one, blue and green, and I colored all the way around. So today, I just chose orange and pink, which is kind of, I had like orange and purple on the other one. So the tricky part is some of these lines are the same line. Like this Starburst is the same, these would be the same color here and here. So that's where this kind of comes in and can get a little tricky, remembering which is which color. So you guys know me, I like to always outline first and then color in from there. So this is in the same Starburst, so this part of the heart is going to be orange too. So only within that line, outside of the line is going to be, outside of the line where it's the heart is going to be pink. So I outline, and then I like to get the thicker part. I have the Mr. Sketch, so they've got that nice chiseled edge. So I like to use that thicker part and really fill in those big areas. I don't like to use it where it's kind of skinny in there. I don't want to get out of lines. All right, so I'm going to do this all the way around. I just said I don't like to get out of the lines, and I did. All the way around. An idea might be to get going with maybe a couple, one or two parts of your pattern, and then if you're worried you're going to screw up, sometimes I just do either a little dot of color, just a small one, in case it is wrong. I can hopefully go over it. So what I did is I started with 2 lighter colors for my heart, so that if I do mess up out here and accidentally color outside of my heart, like right here, I've got to follow this line, because this part is not part of my heart. So what I like to do is start with my lightest colors. That way if I mess up, I can always go over it with my darker colors. So the colors that I have personally chosen to go outside of my heart are these 2 colors. I have a plum and a teal. So if I mess up, I can always go over it with those, and hopefully you won't be able to see the part that I messed up. I always go light to dark for that reason. So I am going to pause the video, and I'm going to kind of finish up this heart pattern so you don't have to watch me color in real time. And then I'll have the background started as well. So let me just finish this part right here. Then I will pause. So you guys know that you can pause and play as often as you need to. You can rewind, do whatever you need to do to stay up with me. All right, so here we go. I'm going to pause. All right, guys, so here I have my finished heart. Once again, I just kind of followed a starburst all the way out. So what's between 2 lines, which is why I've got orange here and then orange here as well, but not in what's going to be the background. It happened here too with my pink. I kind of have this starburst right here, so anything in between these 2 lines was going to be the same color. So now what I did is I try to get contrasting colors to go around the background. I don't want to get anything that's too close to this pink or too close to the orange, because then my heart won't pop as much. So here I kind of did cool colors in the middle, and I did orange, and purple is not a cool color, or sorry, purple is a cool color, but it had a really good contrast with this bright green and the blue that I put in my heart, which is why I chose it. So you don't have to do like cool colors and warm colors, but you do want some kind of contrast. Today I actually chose warm colors for my heart, and then I chose these 2 cool colors to go around the outside edge. So once again, I just want to remind you guys that if this is the same starburst, then this, and again, I always outline so that I know what I'm coloring inside of. This, there's a line right here, so that's the beginning of a different starburst. So just inside here is where I'm going to start that pattern of teal, plum, teal, plum, teal, plum, all the way around, just like I did the pattern of pink, orange, all the way around. Now, this is kind of a form of balance too. This can be radial balance in a way where the pattern goes all the way around in a circle. Our shape isn't necessarily a round circular shape, but our pattern is definitely circular. So there is a little bit of balance, radial balance there, because the pattern goes in that round shape. So again, this is the same starburst, so this is going to be teal, and it'll be the same with this section. Where I have pink, I'm going to do this plum color. So one of the things before I pause and kind of finish up the coloring, I want to remind you guys, my markers are kind of running out. I've had these for a while, but I'm still really working hard to get all of the white covered up. So that's part of why I outline. I want to make sure that everything inside this outline is going to be colored, in this case, plum. So I don't want to just kind of get close to it. You want to get all the way to the edges. I think that's what we do sometimes. We get close, but we don't get all the way to the edge because we're afraid we'll get out of the lines. So that's why I begin by outlining first so that I know where the edges are. And you can tell I even used the flat part instead of the tip of this marker because it makes even a thicker edge for me. So now I can just color every bit of this in and not worry about getting outside the lines because the lines are, there's already color there. And these are kind of, like I said, they're drying out a little bit, so I have to keep working really hard. I'm pressing a little bit harder than I'd like, but it's what I got to do in order to get this colored in nice and neat. So I'm going to continue with this color all the way around. Plum, teal, all the way around, and then we'll be finished. So here's my final starburst. It was a lot of work to get all of this colored in because you can see my markers were running out, but I'd already started using them, so I had to stick with it. So maybe that's my note to you, is test your markers like maybe on the back side and make sure that they work, because this was a lot of work and you're going to get really messy, but it was worth it. So I kind of have the opposites here. Like I said, here I've got a darker, I wanted you to see them kind of side by side. Here I've got a little bit of a darker object. So my object again is the heart. And then my starburst around the edge is kind of brighter. I did the opposite here. I personally like this side better. I like the brighter colors. That's just me. I like the orange and the pink on this one, but to me these colors are just a little too dark. So I almost wish I would have picked a lighter color in here, either not picked the plum or not picked the teal and made it a little bit brighter. But again, that's just kind of what I'm thinking. So go ahead and get started. Once again, you do not have to do a heart. That's just what I did. But you do need to have some kind of object, just the outline of it in the middle. And then you're going to do your starburst. You can start it anywhere you want. You could do it right in the middle. You could do it at the bottom, at the top, anywhere you want. But remember, you have to have an even number of lines. So I did on this one 16 lines, and I counted on this one I had 14. So you don't have to measure it out. See how sometimes the spaces are a little bit wider, sometimes they're a little bit smaller. As long as you have an even number, you should be good. So now you guys can go ahead and get started, and I want to see what pretty patterns you come up with.